Today is day 27 of the Karen Read trial. I'm going to give you my daily recap. Today there was no jury present. It was solely dedicated for the judge to hear about the experts that are about to testify for the defense and prove that they're credible, and also prove that the defense received the information about one of their experts in a timely manner and provided that to the Commonwealth. The first expert witness that the defense is calling today in voir dire without the jury present is Dr. Marie Russell, and there is quite a bit of controversy about allowing her testimony in regarding how she heard about the case. Alan Jackson starts off with all of the qualifying questions. In order to prove that she is a qualified expert, she went to MIT and then she had to help her mother who was dying of cancer. So she switched and went to the police academy. She got her bachelor's in psychology at MIT. Then she went to UMass Med for 4 years. She's a doctor of medicine. That happened in 1987. She's done 2 residencies, which she isn't shy to admit that that is not common. Usually doctors only do 1 residency. And she was trained in forensic pathology for her 2nd residency, and she worked at LA's trauma unit for the longest time. After hearing about her expertise, we learned that she is clearly overqualified. She's been a professor for a number of years. She's also a published author regarding dog bites. Dr. Marie Russell came to the conclusion that the arm injuries on John O'Keefe are consistent with dog bites. Specifically here, she explains it looks like a palate from an animal, a dog, suspectedly a large dog, in the arch of the palate. We hear Adam Lally begin questioning her expertise. She does not have crash reconstruction training. She's not board certified in forensic pathology. She's board certified in something else. And he asks how long she's been subscribed to the Boston Globe, which is kind of like an annoying moment. But she was actually the first female police officer in Malden, Massachusetts, and she lived in Boston for a while. She's probably been subscribed to the Globe for a long time. The reason that this is important is because of how she heard about this case. She was not contacted by the prosecution or by the defense related to this case. She simply saw a headline, heard about this case, reached out to somebody in the DA's office that she knew that actually knew Alan Jackson, and he pointed her in the right direction in order to speak to Mr. Jackson, and that is where we've arrived. So basically this happened on May 17th-ish, and she came to her conclusion shortly after she received all the documents. She did not write a report on it either. The judge is going to make her ruling on Thursday, but she said to Mr. Lally, if she does admit this testimony into the case, Lally will be allowed to provide a rebuttal witness, and he needs to start finding that person now. He says it will take him about 1 week. So after the defense presents their case, Mr. Lally has opportunity to call rebuttal, and so she's saying in that window, if you want to call anybody to refute this, that's what you need to do. The next witness, and we're going to hear from voir dire without the jury present, is Dr. Daniel Wolf, and he is a director of accident reconstruction at ARCA LLC. And the really interesting part about him being entered into the chat is that he was actually hired by the FBI and Department of Justice. So he's never met Alan Jackson. He's never met Mr. Lally. He was not hired by the prosecution. He was not hired by the defense. His reports were strictly done because of the federal investigation that's ongoing. He is overqualified once again. He has tons of experience, tons of degrees. He's published. He's testified in, I believe, 20 trials, and there's no way, I think, that the judge doesn't allow his testimony in. The next witness called without the jury present is Dr. Wrenchler. He's a biomechanical engineer and accident reconstructionist, again for ARCA. He's testified over 150 times. So this doctor basically did the report based on John O'Keefe's injuries, and his conclusions specifically come from his reports of injuries. Dr. Daniel Wolf's reporting is done based on the accident of the Lexus vehicle that Karen was driving. So their 2 testimonies are going to be synonymous because they work together to come up with their conclusions, but they have independent findings. John O'Keefe's brother, Paul, was mean mugging all day in court. I would be so surprised if the judge does not allow the testimony from Dr. Wolf and Dr. Wrenchler in. Dr. Marie Russell is kind of up in the air because of the timeline when the prosecution learned of her. The trial had already been going on for a couple of weeks at that point. So I could see her maybe going either way, but it would be really poorly for her to not allow that testimony in. And there is no court tomorrow. She will give her ruling on Thursday once the jury returns. So that's it.